Am I
Yes, you can.
audible? Okay, that's great. And also let me know when you can see my screen. Is it up?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm happy to be here, and I hope we have a lovely session. Uh, I'm going to be talking on global technology opportunities for students, and yeah, that's the agenda for today. So please, there will be room for questions in the end. So if there's anything, do ask me. Yeah. So I am Adavizi Aliyu. I'm a software developer. I love the Angular framework. I'm also a computer engineering student at the University of Lagos. And earlier this year, I interned at Goldman Sachs as a summer analyst in the software engineering division. I'm also an introvert, and Taylor Swift and these other artists are my music choice. Just a bit of background about me. So a short disclaimer: these are my personal opinions, and I am not representing the company that I intend with for compliance reasons. Yeah. So when we say global opportunities, global student opportunities, what does that mean? It's good to understand that there are companies out there and they have pipelines that they have to keep working. And being a student makes you eligible for some opportunities with this company. So they have every year they have like a recruiting pipeline that they go out to get students to get new recruits to join their companies. And as a student, you should take advantage of these opportunities. And the various pipelines that they have are depend the pipeline that you are eligible for depends on your graduation date. So they have apprenticeship roles, which are for like early university students. So if you're in your second year or third, you might want to check this out. Then internship roles, which is what I'll be talking mostly on today, and that is for people in their penultimate year. That's the year before your final year. For most companies, that's the eligibility criteria. And finally, there are new grad roles for people who are in their final year or people that have left school not too long ago. So I think 2 years after your graduation, you are still considered a new grad for most companies. Okay, so the agenda, the content that I have structured out is we'll talk about the mindset, then how to go about your applications. After applications, you have to take some tests and interviews, or yeah, then it ends up being an offer or a good learning experience. And we'll get to that in a bit. So when it comes to these opportunities, it's good. It helps to have a great mindset and understand what exactly you're getting into. And it's mostly about Fortune 500 companies. These are large companies like investment banks, financial institutions, or technology companies. I'm pretty sure we've heard of fan companies, that's Google, Facebook, Amazon, and the likes. And these companies are quite large and they have a lot at stake. They have things to manage, they have clients, they have most of these companies are what keeps the world and economies running. So they always need people. They need people to manage and maintain and innovate. Everyone is trying to be number one at their company and increase profits. So they need people. And they are very interested in smart and talented individuals, people that are motivated and people that if they hire, they would get a better company out of. Yeah. And how does that affect you? You should recognize that if you are in technology or if you are as a student that has something, you have something to offer. Just you have to believe that you have something to offer based on the projects you've worked on. You have some experience that you are going to tender on the table, and that is something that you're looking for. So it's a two-way transaction. They are looking for people to build their companies, and you are capable of building, and they are going to provide a very lovely place to have a career if that is what you're into. So you have to believe to a reasonable extent that you have something to offer, and it will help you throughout the stages. And I, in bracket, I put out delulu. Do not be delusional about it. You have to recognize your own unique abilities and work on it, and learn and upskill to beat the bar. Everyone is like a blank slate, and you can fill in your slate. Yeah, I think something else to keep on your mindset is that it's always a competition. You have over for Goldman Sachs last year, they had over 400,000 applications, if I remember correctly. And okay, I do not remember the numbers, but there are thousands. They go through thousands and thousands of applications, hundreds of thousands of applications. So do not forget, it's a competition. Is the employment marketplace, and you have to offer your best self. And you might be discouraged knowing that there are hundreds of thousands of other people from around the world. It's a global opportunity. So people from Nigeria, people from African countries, people from India, and all over Europe are applying to these same companies. So it's a tight competition. But what helps is believe it's why your mindset is important. It's because it's going to set you. It's going to help you not be discouraged, I guess, because you have when you view the competition, it might seem like, oh, I do not have a shot, but the truth is that you do have a shot. Or just give it your best, upskill, just go to the market and sell what you have, and you'd be surprised that people would recognize the potential you have and take you for it. That's on mindset. Moving on to the application, to the application process. By the way, I'm going to be giving like high level overviews on this. So you'd still want to do your research and um, to get more information, because there's a lot to cover. I'm just giving an overview of the whole process from my experience. So first rule of application is you have the adage is usually place your eggs in multiple baskets, but you have just one egg, which is yourself, and you want to put that in multiple baskets. So there are tons of companies. Not It's okay to have dream companies, but I would advise that you apply rounds. Just go around and apply. Do not focus on one company alone. Yeah, and secondly, recruiters do not have time. They really do not have time. So you want to send in thoughtful applications, and you want to do your research about the company, check their careers page, read through the job description, and gather as much information that you can. If you have past employees within your circle, you can reach out to them. If you need it, if they are capable of providing a referral to you, it's something that would help. So your application should be somewhat thoughtful, not just something you finish in 5 minutes and you get it over with. And the two important aspects of your application will be your resume and your cover letter. So for your resume, it's like a personal advertisement of yourself, of your brand, or what you are trying to offer. If you're a back-end engineer, you're a front-end engineer, you have volunteered in different positions, you have whatever experience you have, everything that you are made of, you want to thoughtfully summarize it in your resume. I remember, to keep it simple and direct, and recruiters do not have time. Recruiters sing about how they go through resumes in just 5 seconds to decide whether an applicant is moving on to the next stage. That is something that we have heard like lots of times. So you don't want to beat around the bush. And a rule of thumb is whatever is on your resume should have a purpose. So if you're adding the volunteering that you did, that you taught people, you should be able to justify it. That okay, I'm trying to express that I'm capable of transferring my knowledge. This certification that I took, I'm adding a link. I'm adding my blog. Not because it's a cooking blog, but because it's a blog that I have written technical articles. That's depending on the role you are applying for. So in summary, your resume should be short, one page. But for internship, it is highly advisable to be 1 page. For new grad roles, it could be 2 pages. 1 page is best for everything, but if it is justifiable, if you do need 2 pages, you can use 2 pages. Then avoid ambiguity and just be direct. So I have seen instances where people try to play with words and just combine different words from the English language without having like an actual point, just because I do not want my resume to be blank. Yeah, so you want to avoid that. Recruiters, it doesn't help. In my own experience, it doesn't help. Recruiters just want to know what you did. So I converted screens. I converted over 20 screens from Figma to web pages using React. Rather than something like I don't even know the English, but you just want to be direct and get to the point. Okay, and some important things. The important things that should be on your resume is your name and your relevant links. That's your email, your LinkedIn. You want to also make sure your LinkedIn is up to date because people will be clicking these links to decide your portfolio, your blog, things that are relevant to the role you're applying for. Then your education with your graduation date. So because they have their pipelines have some requirements to be eligible for an internship, you have to be graduating within a certain date. So you want to add your graduation date or or if you are in your second year, if you are applying for an internship or an apprenticeship, it's something that's very important. So do not just add BSc computer science. You want to add when you are graduating, your expected graduation date. Also relevant courses if applicable. So if you're studying computer science and you took a course on object-oriented programming, that is something that would look nice and that's something justifiable. So that's something you want to add. So your relevant courses that are relevant to the role, you want to add those. Then your programming languages and technologies. So I know JavaScript, Golang, etc. You want to have those at the top. And finally, you have your relevant experience and projects, because some people have not like had work experience, so you can compensate for that with projects and your extracurriculars, volunteering, and awards. So at every stage, remember it's a competition, and if you sell a lower version of yourself, know that 10,000 other people will sell the best versions of themselves. So everything you have that is relevant, just go with it. If there are links of courses, of trainings that you attended, you want to lead with those. And most importantly, avoid typos and be honest with your resume. Your resume follows you throughout the application process. So you want to avoid typos and be honest with it because you have to defend it eventually. And you do not want your final interviewer to be going through your resume and find a typo. So those are it sounds petty, but it is they have thousands of other people to pick from. So if they find a typo, they can decide that they do not like it. So best to avoid. So moving on to cover letters, it's something that could be important. Some recruiters take it seriously to see whether you are a good fit for the company to even proceed, or it could be at the final stage when they are deciding who to give offers, and then they love your cover letter. So it's your personal pitch, so you want to make it count. It should be short and direct. Again, recruiters do not have time. They really do not. And express your motivation, your skills and expertise, and why you want the role. So I usually tell people that it should be like a professional love letter to who you want to work for. Like, hi, I love your company. This is what I'm offering. This is what I have built in the past. These are my experience. This is what I want for a career, and this is why I want to join your company. And also avoid template cover letters and GPT and AI, because a recruiter has been seeing cover letters for years. If it is a template that you saw online and you just copied and pasted, it will not do you much good. Yeah, also do your research about the company, know what they do, because it helps in all stages. And apply early, do not wait for the deadline. Some positions are on a rolling basis, so as soon as they fill up the headcounts that they are able to afford and sponsor, they'll close the applications. And you also do not want to rush, like you do not want to send your application in just 5 minutes. So you also want to take your time. So it's up to you to find the balance of, oh, this application is open and this is the time that I have to prepare for it. And it's up to you to find the balance. Yeah, so moving on to tests and interviews. Okay, I'm just going to do a quick check here and find and see if I'm still with you guys. Can everybody hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So on tests and interviews, tests could be automated in the sense that when you send in your application, they automatically send you a test. And for some companies, when you send in your application, someone reviews your cover letter and resume and decides whether you are worthy for a test. But if you do get if you do get a link to take a test, congratulations. And you want to take it seriously, prepare and practice. So you just understand the kind of test that they are asking you to write. For technical roles, for software engineering roles, it's usually data structures and algorithms. So you don't have to wait till you start applying. You want to start practicing those and taking lead code tests to get familiar with it. And also, if you look up a company on, say, you apply for Morgan Stanley technology analyst role, you want to search that on Liquid Discourse and Glassdoor and Reddit or YouTube and like see, because there are people that have taken this test and shared their experiences. And it changes over time, but you get an idea of what you're heading into. Also, leverage your circles and your friends. So if I apply for a role and I took the test and my friend asked me if what I found in the role, I'll be able to give more insight, and I think they'll be able to prepare better since they have basically past question, something like that. So tests are timed. Do not give up until the end. So when you take a hackathon test, for instance, you might have 23 test cases to meet, and in between, you find out that 5 test cases are not passing. You just want to keep that energy till the end, and you know it could be on the last minute that your 23 test cases pass. So yeah, keep your energy up. So yeah, practice HackerRank, DSAs. Because the test could be on the HackerRank platform. They would send you a link to HackerRank, or you would take an aptitude test. That's some math and situational judgment questions. So if you do get an interview, that means after taking the test, someone sees you as a potential hire. Someone reviews your application and it's like, oh, this person could be a great fit for our company. This person could join us and help us be better. So you get an invitation to an interview. And keeping in the back of your mind that interviewing is a skill and you get better. You get better at having the conversation. An interview is just I'm looking for someone and you think you're the person they are looking for. So you just have to have that match. So they ask you questions, you answer, you show what you are made of. You sell yourself basically. So in during an interview, you want to know your resume at the back of your head because the person interviewing you has your resume on their screen and they're asking you questions. I have been in interviews, so on my resume I have C++ because I took classes on it at school, and I had JavaScript and TypeScript. I've been in an interview where the interviewer asked me that what the difference between C++ and JavaScript were, or what were the benefits of TypeScript, and like some bullet points that you put on your resume or under your experience of projects you've worked on. They could ask you questions about what did you learn, and all of those. So you want to be able to defend it. You want to be capable of defending it. So your resume should be on your head. You shouldn't be surprised and be like, "Is it there? Do I have that on my resume?" It doesn't look good. So go with your best self. Be confident and honest. And for interviews, there are two kinds, which are behavioral and technical. So for behaviorals, they want to know the kind of person that you are and your motivation and your goals. The best thing you can do for yourself is have a good tell me about yourself is usually what starts an interview. Tell me about yourself when you go and pitch yourself. They are not asking you what you eat for breakfast. They're asking you to tell you to express yourself relating to the job you've applied for. So that could be something like I am Davide Aliyu. I'm a computer engineering student. I'm also a software developer. I built web apps and etc. Then I volunteered to do this and like just give a nice but brief summary about your experience and who you are and what you know, right? And if they are interested in finding out more, they will ask questions. But do not make it sound robotic. You want to have a nice conversation. You want to leave an impression. So that is something you have to practice. Then situational judgment questions. You could get questions like, what is something new you've learned? Tell me about a time where you disagreed with your manager, a time you failed, a time you faced a challenge at work, things like this. So, and depending on your answer, they'll be able to evaluate who you are as a person. And for behavioral interviews, there is something called the STAR method, and it's the most efficient for answering these behavioral questions. So, if you get a question like a time you failed or a time you faced a challenge at work, when you are going to use the STAR method, you have to paint the scenario and or the situation. So I was tasked with doing this at the office. And when you're answering these questions, you do not want to be vague. You want to provide as much context as possible. It's more like storytelling, and you want the person to like your story. You want your interviewer to like your story. So you provide context as much as possible, and that's what the S is. That's what the S stands for. So in my former job, I worked as a back-end engineer. I was the only back engineer in a team of six, and I was assigned to write test cases, to write unit tests for our application that was going to be deployed. So you paint that scenario, you define the task, then you tell the action that you took. Doing that, I took some courses, I wrote tests, I like just tell them what you did. And finally, you want to end with the results that, okay, in the end, we had a 90% test coverage, and my manager approved of it. We merged it, and our product launch, we have fewer bugs. You want to land with the results. And while you are telling a story, when you're using the STAR method, something that you could miss a lot on is the result aspect. And the point of the question is to get an answer. So whatever you answer should answer the question. So if you're asked a question and you paint the scenario and what you did, like how do you deal with stress, and you tell a story about a time you were stressed, I do not say how you dealt with it and in the end whether it worked. You basically have not answered the question. Yeah. So no vague answers, and it helps to practice. It helps to practice in front of the camera and record yourself, look at replay, smile and have that impression. So yeah, get familiar with your stories. So for situational judgment interviews or behavioral interviews, you want to reflect. You just want to take out time and sit and reflect on things you've been through, the classes, the projects you've worked on. Like know those stories at the back of your head. So when you get questions, tell me about a time you worked with a difficult person, you'd remember that project that you had a difficult team member and what you did. And there are tons of resources online for popular behavioral interview questions, and the questions could manifest in different ways. But when you know your stories, you'll be able to match it to the exact story that you are that you are that so you'll be able to match it with the exact question that you've been asked, and be confident, professional, and casual. So that is kind of ironic because you want to be professional and because it's a professional setting, but you also want to be casual. You are being evaluated on everything. Okay, you're being evaluated on everything, and being casual and confident is to leave an impression because that same interviewer you're sitting with is probably interviewing could be interviewing 10 other people that day, and you want to be the one they remember, or you want to be part of the people that will be remembered. So you want to have a conversation. Let it be a free flowing interview. Then for technical tests, it could be you could have an interview and have both behavioral and technical at the same time, or strictly technical. Um, Being technical fit is non-negotiable. They want you to be a good person, but they also need you to fit the box that they are creating. So you want to research and prepare. You need to get as much context as possible, practice lead codes, Google the interview you are going for, check Glassdoor and Reddit, and anywhere and people your circles to know what to expect, to have an idea at least of what to expect. It also fix your mindset. For instance, some people believe that data structures and algorithm interviews are not ideal because that is not what you do on the job. While that is not entirely correct, it is they have a reason for doing it, and I can't get into that on the call. But if you are going to a data structure and algorithm interview, not knowing what they're expecting to find from your answers, is it won't help you much. So you want to fix that mindset and going as confident as possible. And people who hire you people who interview you may be your teammates at the end of the day. So you want to code and like you're working with them. You want to be relaxed and just have a conversation and demonstrate your skills. So finally, the whole point of a technical interview is not to answer it correctly. It's not to answer the problem correctly. We want to know what your thought process is like. The interviewer wants you to communicate and write clear code. Write. They want to know what you are made of or what your skills are. So make sure you answer. Just know at the back of your mind that the whole point is not to answer correctly. It's you want a correct answer, but how you arrive at the answer matters. How you communicate with your interviewer and all of those matters. Then your interviewer also wants you to succeed. You want to keep a two-way channel. So if you are stuck, ask for help. Imagine you are working. Most of the focus would be on you, but imagine you are working with them on a paired coding session. So you want to have that free channel and communicate what you are thinking. If you are going the wrong way, they'll let you know. They want you to succeed, but they are behind the wall, and they want so. In any way you can get help from them, just keep that channel open. Do not let it not be one-sided. Then do not assume questions are complete. Ask further questions. Ask for clarifications. Take your time to think and come prepared. While they want you to be very smart, you're not expected to know every single thing. So be honest about what you know and what you don't know. For instance, if you get asked a question about trees and you haven't worked with trees is a data structure. You haven't worked with trees a lot. You want to oh, I don't know, I haven't practiced trees, but this is what I know about it. Just be honest about what you know. I know that it's a data structure that has nodes, but I don't know how it works. And you could learn about it there. They might try to explain to you that they are not expecting you to know everything, but they want to know that you have potential. Then be in depth when possible, explain when they ask for more details. And yeah, overall you get better interviews. Make sure you're in Nigeria, so you want to make sure your internet, your data, your environment and device are sorted. Do not go to an interview with like 200 MB where you have your video on and you'll be streaming their video also. You want your device to be working, you want to have battery and all of those, and make a good impression with your best self, make a lasting impression, have a conversation with them, maintain your 100% energy. Like at the start of the interview, if you answer a question wrongly, you don't want to start feeling bad and feel like you lost the interview or you've lost your chance. So just keep it going, keep your energy going. It's easier said than done, but you have to be conscious that okay, I'm giving it my best try out. Then prepare meaningful questions for the interview and prepare questions that are meaningful. Basically, you want to ask about their template questions online, but you want to ask something that would show that you don't research. If you're asking about the work culture, you want to ask something in depth that the interviewer would relate to talk to you because they also want you to like their company. Yeah, while they are hoping to like you, they want you to like their company and take and come and work with them. So your question will show how interested you are in the company. So ask something meaningful. Then come with a notebook and pen and a bottle of water. You want to have a bottle of water because your throat might get dry. Like it happens a lot. And your note and pen might be to sketch or take notes. Yeah. So in the end, you either get an offer, and if you get an offer, congratulations on making it. And if you do not, congratulations on getting better. This is a screenshot of my inbox early this year. So if I think anybody that is into technology, if you Google unfortunately in their email, you should find multiple emails. With unfortunately we have, I mean, if I start a company and I have to send out rejection emails, I have enough templates to use. So what I said about congratulations on getting better is because these are some templates. um it's because you get better interviewing. Interviewing is a skill. Like you might be perfect for the job, but you just have to prove it in the end. You might be a very good backend engineer and go for an interview, and they might hire someone less qualified than you. Why? Because the person that that they hired was able to make the impression that they were looking for. So if you get a rejection email, do not take it personal. They just weren't confident that this is what we're looking for, or it might be that like there are lots of reasons to it. It could be that they did not offer visa sponsorship because well in this side of the world, some companies do not have funding or they have headcounts that they have picked the people that they are able to sponsor, and unfortunately you meet the mark, but they just do not have the capacity to move forward. So whatever it is, just do not take it personal. It is not personal. Go to your next basket. That's something I said earlier. Single egg, multiple baskets. Then you want to reflect on the experience. What questions could you not answer properly? What questions do you think you could have elaborated or answered better? Practice both. Ask for feedback if it's available. I've had a recruiter after she sends the rejection email, she said she's available for a 15 minutes call if I do want feedback. And I took it, I learned things that they were looking for that I did not provide, and it helped me in my next interview. So you want to, if you interview with 10 companies, the experience you've had from the 9 previous companies, you are going to take it into the 10th one, and it would be better. So yeah, that's all on the handling rejection part. It's easier said than done because I mean you could be refreshing your inbox 247 only to get that, and it's hard, but it's not personal. So in summary, you want to understand each process you are going in. If you are going into the application phase, if you are going into the preparation phase, if you are in your second year and you are planning to apply in your fourth year, you want to start putting yourselves in positions. For instance, you're not volunteering to teach or you're not volunteering to organize a tech event because you want it to look good on your resume. You're volunteering because being in that position will expose you to different scenarios that would be important to you and your career, like handling people, handling difficulties, handling challenges. All of those are things that come naturally when you expose yourself. So when you position yourself, you build that mindset and you build your expertise. So understand each process and know what is required of you to be able to raise yourself to meet that bar. Build yourself at each stage. Prepare deliberately. Offer the best version of yourself because 100,000 people, other people will. I do not. If you ask me for the source of that number, I do not know, but there are thousands of other people that are going to present the best version of themselves. So if you do not add time that you built a mobile app for your class to like send text messages, someone else will add it, and you need all the pluses you can get. And do not forget a competition. Don't take rejections personally. It's not personal. um move on to the next. Avoid getting overwhelmed by each stage. Avoid getting overwhelmed in general. So you might be overwhelmed that okay, I have tests, I have interviews, I have this, but just take it one by one. So when you are taking a test, just focus on the test alone. Do not overthink the next stages. Just take it step by step. When you get to the bridge, you cross it. And lastly, believe in yourself. I started with the mindset because if you do not believe you can get it, it's going to haunt you throughout the process. So if you believe that okay, I'm capable, I do have something to offer. I mean, I know how to write code. I know how to get better. I know how to learn because learning is a very important skill. I know how to learn. If I'm a front end engineer, but if you give me this new language that is taking the ecosystem, I'll be able to take tutorials and learn it. You have to believe in yourself to a reasonable extent that you're capable of being extraordinary because that is what they are looking for. And leverage all the resources you have. The internet, Google, find past experiences, your connections, your circles, your community. Just leverage everything. You need all the help you can get. Yeah, I think we have come to the end of the presentation. Any questions?
Okay, so I personally have a question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so my question is, with data structures and algorithm, like how do you get better at it? Like how do you get very good at it that you could tackle any question? And then the second question will be, how do you handle, let's say, burnouts or being overwhelmed from like rejections? Because rejections is, I mean, it's like a normal thing, like you said, with developers, right? So how do you handle rejections when you keep on getting rejections? Um, back to back, if that makes sense.
Okay, so the first question is what was it again? Sorry.
How do you get good at data
Oh
structures?
yeah, I remember. Okay, so there are different people who have different ways to learn, but personally, I would say learn the basic data structures first. Like you want to learn about arrays and the possible array methods, and you want to move into the strings and how you manipulate strings. You want to know what binary search is. You want to know what a hash table is. You want to know what sets and all of those are. You want to know what a linked list is. Now, after you know those basic data structures, you now want to go to you want to go into applying them to solve problems. So you look at a problem and you solve. Okay, I can apply using a hash map here, and it works. I think it works better that way because if I pick up a problem and I'm supposed to use a linked list to solve it, and I do not know what a linked list is, I would be very, very confused and I would think it's something difficult. Meanwhile, it's just something that I would use a linked list and iterate through it and I'll get the answer. But if I did not know what a linked list is, I would just imagine it's something very complex and I'm not capable of doing it. Well, that's what I advise. Some people advise that you just solve problems. So, for instance, if you pick a linked list problem and you do not know how to solve it, then you check for solutions, then you discover that something like a linked list exists, then you learn about linked lists, then you come back to solve the problem. Like it's still in the end, it still is the same thing, but either of them, I just advise learning the the data structures first, like the basic ones, not dwell too much on it, then you move on to solving problems. And then just keep solve round. So you could do lead code daily. You could task yourself that I'm going to do one lead code every day. But you want to make sure you are going around, you are solving a graph problem today, you are solving a binary search problem tomorrow, you are solving a heap problem next tomorrow. Not like I'm doing lead code every day. At the end of the year, I've solved 365 lead codes. But every day I was solving array problems. So it's not going to help very much if you do not diversify the type of problems you are solving. So like when you solve problems round, you get familiar with the methods because it's usually the same thing, just repeated in a different way. So when you see another question, you'll be able to, oh, I solved something like this before, and I need to use a binary search, and you get better at it. So learn your basic data structures and practice. And that's all I can say. and getting overwhelmed with burnout. It's a hard one. Me personally, I what I do is I pick like 2 companies or 3 companies that I apply to. So I have like a separate email address for applying. So I just and my inbox is usually archived and clear. So I just pick 3 companies, apply to them, interview, and depending on the outcome, I would if I'm getting rejections and I know I'm getting 3 rejections, then I would reiterate and like pick other companies depending on when their deadlines are closing. So, but if you apply to like 10 companies and you get 10 rejections at once, I really do not know what to say. But just do your best and you'll be fine. Like just I don't know. It will be okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Hello.
Hi,
I don't know if can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Listen, thanks for the lecture. Actually, I can't see much, but I've been following your class in your lecture, and it's quite interesting. And this is somehow, I know. Sorry, I'm blabbering too much. My question is that sometimes how to know the data structure or algorithm to use. For example, now there's a challenge I was trying to do in front end mentor. My main reason for trying the challenge is not just for the front end to build the UI with HTML and CSS. It's just about this thing, comment. You know, and each comment can have children that can reply to a comment, and even those reply to that still comment, so they can still have their own replies. So how to organize the data, all those stuff like that is quite somewhat challenging because in the challenge they provided the data in a array format. So to kind of be adding comments, replies to a nested comment, with too much nesting. So if there's a way you can do it to make it much more cleaner.
Okay, I think I get the context of what you are saying. Although I'm not sure I understand the comments challenge that you're trying to solve. But what I can say is, for problems generally, I start with breaking it down. So even while you're interviewing, you won't when they give you a problem, you won't go straight to writing code. You want to understand the problem first, then break it down bit by bit. Okay, I have n numbers or n comments in this array. How do you identify a comment? Is there like a comment ID? Then how you want to break it down to the tiniest bit that you can, then see how you can piece everything back up together. So that's why knowledge of a pre-existing knowledge of like the data structures that are available is important, because when you see something like that, you would know which data structure it is. So basically, data structures are just a different way you can represent data in memory, while algorithms is how you manipulate and access it. Yeah. So if you are going to use for something like that, if you are going to use a tree, a comment tree, for instance, I don't know if you're familiar with trees, but a tree is something that has a root node. That this is the roots, then there are branches from that main one. So if you are going to use a tree to represent comments, you would like if you know about trees already and you see something like that, you know that okay, I have a main comment and things are spawning out from these different comments. So you have different it's something you could apply trees. I'm not sure if tree is what is going to solve your problem, but I'm using that as an example. So maybe take a basic course or just read on the common data structures. Like there are very few, the common ones are very few. Then from that, break down your problem and see how you can match that to an existing data structure or your modified version of the data structure. If you're having your own kind of objects with your own properties and your own values to make it modifying it to fit your own data, it's something that is allowed. So two things: learn basic data structures that exist and break down your problems into the finest bits and see how you can fit it into a data structure. Okay. Any more questions?
Sorry, one more thing, Israel. Can you please share with us your experience like interning at Goldman, if you're comfortable with that?
Mm. That I'm grateful.
All right. Okay, I shouldn't say something that is not in my that is covered by my NDA, but I'll try to give a high level summary. Interning at Goldman was really great because so from the first day you would be welcome like a normal staff, like a full-time staff, yeah, and you have your manager, you have your buddies, and you'd understand. So we're divided into teams. I had the team I was working on. We're about 12. Then you understand what the team is building that supports the company, and we built, I'll say we build tools for traders. Yeah, so you understand that, you understand how it works. You'd see how, you know, when you're taking system design courses and they tell you that, okay, how do you scale this to send 2 million requests in a second? And it sounds very vague because who is sending 2 million requests or 500 million requests? But that is something you get to see real time and you know that, okay, this exists. Um, so it was an eye opener because you'd see a lot of moving parts. I saw a lot of moving parts there, and I met really nice people. The culture is very different. The culture is very different. Like, people are nice. You'd see a very old person, a very advanced person, married with kids, and they talk to you like both of you are in high school, which is very great. And also I was able to network and meet people from different sides, people working in trading and operations and different career paths. You see how they apply those in the real world, and how it makes the world economies run and stuff like that. Also, you get to improve your technical skills because the kind of code bases that they have there are very, should I say, very technical. Like, it's heavy. It's uh it's very technical. It's quite technical. So you would upskill and learn a lot that would help you in the rest of your career. Yeah, that's how it was for me. I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm answering your question directly, but my experience was learning, networking, experiencing a very beautiful culture. That was it.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't know if anybody has any more question that I can ask. Maybe you're not clear on the interviewing processes, how to tailor a resume. You could ask questions. Okay. Okay, it seems we don't have any more questions. Thank you, Mr. Israel, for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us. We're deeply grateful and we deeply appreciate it, and we appreciate your time. Thank you, everyone, for joining for today's event. I hope we've left with one or two things that we can use, something encouraging we can also add to our wealth of experience. And we hope to see everyone at the top soon.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I think Toby Ekundayo has a
Question. Yeah, I
question.
can see that.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Toby Kundayo, and I tuned into this session earlier on. Thank you so much for the knowledge and everything else. And I was just wondering, is there any way for us to connect with you, like your LinkedIn profile, GitHub, or anything else?
Yeah, my LinkedIn is active. I think I have a link. I'll put a link in the chat there. So yeah, my LinkedIn is open.
Okay, thank you so
Um,
much.
I'm seeing in the chat, someone's asking if it's a paid internship. Yes, it is a paid. It's a fully sponsored internship. So your flights and accommodation is kind of covered, and also, yeah, you get salaries. So you are basically working like a full-time staff, so you get something very close to what a full-time hire is getting paid. Yeah, it's a paid internship. They are paid internships. Also, I'm putting a link in the chat to a list of resources, a list of open applications currently. You might find out useful.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, someone is asking what is duration for the internship?
My internship was 3 months. It was a summer internship, so from June to August. That was the duration. But some companies you might find there are summer internships and there are off-cycle internships. Off-cycle internship go for 6 months. So if you are doing your CWS placement, that's something you might want to try to get so you could leverage the 6 months experiencing life outside.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, everyone, have a nice day. Thank you, Mr. Israel, for sharing your experience with us. We are grateful. Good night, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful week. We hope to see you at our next event. Bye.
Bye.